So, we're doing this again. Wait, this isn't... No, cut this out. I've made the mistake of starting a series, and now I feel obligated to continue it. This time, I'll be talking about the various event bosses and mini-bosses Terraria has. The game clearly states what an event boss is, but what classifies as a mini-boss is a bit more open to interpretation. I don't want to get too crazy with semantics, so if it's a strong enemy with boss-like qualities, I'm counting it as a mini-boss. Already starting with the forgettable one. The Dark Mage can be seen as the final boss of the Tier 1 Old Ones Army event. The reason why folks don't really remember this guy is because, well, people don't like doing the Old Ones Army in the first place. What also doesn't help is that the Tier 1 Old Ones Army event doesn't offer too many rewards, so there's little reason to fight this guy. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have the most popular enemy in the game. Seriously, we went from dork that nobody knows about to the subject of every Terraria video on YouTube. People say that anyone who kills the Guardian is an absolute god at the game, and everyone should bow before their might. Hate to break it to you though, almost everybody has done this, and it's actually really easy to do. Just takes a little while. Bragging about killing the Guardian is like boasting to others that you stepped on an old piece of chewing gum. I originally had a much longer bit planned out for the Goblin Summoner, but I scrapped it because it was drawn out and obnoxious. You know, kinda like the Goblin Army. Oh boy, this guy. So I bet a lot of you already know why the Ice Golem is such a bad enemy already, but just in case you didn't, let's bring you up to speed. Unlike the Ice Golem, the Sand Elemental is actually a well-designed enemy that's fun to fight. She only spawns during sandstorms, and while she's around, things will be a little more hectic. These little tornadoes she summons look amazing. Wouldn't it be cool if you could use them too? Luckily for you, there's an item she drops that can be used to do just that. The Dread Nautilus is the meanest mollusk in town. It happens to be one of the most dangerous enemies in the game. All it does is fly around, vomit its lunch all over the place, and do loops around the player. It drops some pretty neat items like the Sanguine Staff, Bloody Tear, and Blood Moon Monolith. It's just a shame you'll never see these items though, because this is one of the most frustrating fights ever conceived. I imagine the Flying Dutchman is like one of those clown cars that holds way too many people inside it. Assuming clouds are people. As long as its cannons are still operational, it'll keep on chucking pirates off deck to ruin your day. This also means you can easily exploit it by trapping the ship in a box and watching as it throws pirates overboard and into the meat grinder. Laugh. I said laugh! The Ogre is solid proof that you shouldn't mess with that one nerdy kid back in high school, because one day they'll pick up a club and beat you to death. Why did I call this numbskull ogre a nerd? Alright, boom, boom. That's right, the Goblin Tinkerer and the Ogre are the same person. Bow down before me, I'm the funny internet man now. These guys are dangerous and make dungeon exploration a stressful experience. One wrong move and... Paladins walk around in their imposing suit of armor like they own the place and throw hammers at anything that gets in their way. For being a walking tank, they are very easy to stun lock. You can poke them with a stick and they'll keel over in pain. And who doesn't love some of that? You know why you're fighting this thing. Come on now. You're after the ancient sword of a long-forgotten hero, and using its power will fuse the blades that embody the power of light and darkness to— I'm sorry, is that a toilet? You forged a sword into a toilet. I'm disappointed in your logic. I thought they were above this kind of humor. At least the Mothron babies look cute. It's a tree. Look how happy it is. You sure won't be happy while fighting it. It's equipped to shoot down any and all hopes you had of flying. This thing has a lot of great drops, including a very nice grappling hook, an underrated and downright busted weapon, and this little fella, who is just so precious. The King of Halloween and the ruler of all things spooky. The Pumpkin is a terrifying beast that is sure to give you trouble in the later waves of the Pumpkin Moon. Like, think of Skeletron, okay? Now give him a gun. Now make it so there's 10 of them. That's the Pumpkin experience. It's a tree. Look how happy it— Wait, are there really just 2 seasonal tree bosses? Okay then. The Ever Scream throws needles, hurls baubles, and has a funny walk. Not much else to this little fella, other than its razor pine drop is kind of ridiculous, and it also has a great tree pet you can use. Why do all the trees in this game look so cute? You better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Die. The Ice Queen is the third boss that can appear during the Frost Moon. Once she is on screen, you'll have a tough time finding any time to rest. She follows the "if I don't know what I'm doing, then you sure as hell don't" train of thought. The attack where she spins in circles and throws ice shards leaves your odds of survival entirely up to a dice roll. You'll have to shift your attention towards the Ice Queen if you want any chance of avoiding these shards, which also means you're taking your focus away from Santa Claus, who is about to smash your skull with a high caliber round. Betsy is just Duke Fishron, but with fire. Moving on. The Martian Saucer is a ridiculous... Okay, there's a little more to Betsy than that. This beast is one of the hardest enemies in the game. In order to even reach the boss, you have to work your way through the Tier 3 Old One's Army event, which is almost impossible to do, especially in higher difficulties. When Betsy spawns, it's a race against the clock to beat her as fast as possible before the crystal breaks, and that's easier said than done. The Martian Saucer is a ridiculous, high-tech war machine whose only goal is to watch you suffer. It has plenty of tools to get the job done. Its laser machine guns will overwhelm you with the sheer amount of just stuff they fire. The rocket turrets launch volleys of homing missiles, and something about their flight pattern short-circuits my brain. Finally, there's the Martian Death Ray. Back in 1.3, this thing wasn't too bad. You could just sit in a little box and be totally safe from all harm. Then 1.4 came along and... The lunar pillars are more like events than bosses. They see you taking down hordes of enemies in order to bring down the pillar itself. I don't want to be here all day discussing how much I hate the pillar events, so I'll instead be describing each pillar in one sentence. I hope you like losing control of your character, because you won't be able to move the entire time you're fighting this thing. The Stardust pillar is the nicest looking pillar, and is also the one with the least annoying enemies. The Nebula pillar is full of gimmicky enemies, such as the ones that blind you, the ones that teleport around, and the ones that shoot projectiles that are smarter than you.